here from Pop Turnus me to Taegen Burns about Imaginary, which is now in theaters, a new Blumhouse horror film. We always love talking about horror films. Welcome back to the show. It's good to see you again.
Yes, it's good to see you. I'm happy to be
A
here.
little bit of a change of pace compared to Mighty Ducks Game Changers, would you say? Just a little
Just
bit.
a little.
um, I kind of want to know about the audition process because I want to know, like, sometimes they don't really tell you much. So I want to know, like, do you know what you're auditioning for? Do you know it's a Blumhouse horror film? Do you know about the character? Like, what do you know about the audition for this character?
Well, for this audition, I went into it and I actually got the script. So
Okay.
I was happy with that. And I got the script and the sides and like a character description and everything. And I mean, I had two scenes in the audition process. And then I had director session on my birthday. And
Nice. What
then
a great
I
birthday present.
Yes, exactly. I had the director session on my birthday, and then a few days later, I found out I booked it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so exciting because horror movies have always been around, but there's this popularity and surge of horror movies these days. So I'm just curious, let alone it being a Blumhouse movie, what's it like being part of, like, being in a horror movie at a time where there's a big appetite for that content specifically?
Super exciting. I mean, it was so much fun filming it, and I have so many memories and it was such a great overall experience I mean, the cast and the crew were so incredible, and I loved the script, and I loved playing Taylor, and I just loved all of it. It was such a great experience, and so amazing. It was truly amazing.
Taylor's got some sass, some attitude, and just, yeah, a little bit.
Just a
But she
little.
cares about her family. She cares about her sister and everything. It was that kind of like a tough balance from an acting perspective because we see this character that is like misunderstood and like a little grumpy and mean to her new stepmom. But like at the end, like I mean, it's no spoilers, but like she does mean well in a lot of ways. But what's that like from an acting perspective? I'm curious about that.
I think Taylor was I what I really loved about her was how complex she was,
Yep.
and I loved getting to explore that and kind of how at the beginning we see this, oh gosh, aggressive and kind of annoying and a really unlikable teenager, and I think everyone kind of everyone kind of assumed it's just this teenage angst and whatever, and a little bit of it is, but I think there's so much more going on with her family and her biological mother and her sister, and there's just a lot more layers to why she kind of is the way she is. It's not just all not just teenage angst. She's dealing with really kind of taking care of her little sister, and she's been kind of that maternal role for her little sister, and then when Jess kind of comes into the picture, it's kind of a weird balance because she's like, I'm taking care of her, we don't need this new motherly figure in our life, and so there's kind of this weird tense relationship.
No, absolutely. And I'm curious, have you seen, because the movie's out now in theaters and, you saw it at the premiere and everything. Have you seen it multiple times yet, or have you only seen it like the one time?
I've seen it 3 times.
Three
I
times.
I saw it and I watched it with Pyper and Tom, and I watched it in like at Lions Studios and for the first time, and then I saw it at the premiere, and then I just went and watched it with my all of my family and actually Sam as well, Samuel Salary. Um, so I love watching it. I'm probably gonna go more and see it
So I'm
even more.
wondering because it's very scary. It's got the horror movie moments, but there were some like really funny moments in the movie, and I'm curious if you like noticed that when you were reading the script. And I'm just curious what the audience reactions were to certain scenes. No, like the movie's out. It's not a spoiler, but like spoiler alert just in case. But like the scene of you and Matt, and he gets caught the allergy medication, that made me laugh so hard.
Yes.
The whole theater
Yeah.
was laughing when I went to see it on Friday. The whole
Oh,
theater was laughing. It
good.
was so funny. So, like, did you expect there to be like a lot of people like talking about some of the laughs and laughing as well, or were you just focused on the horror movie aspect of it?
I think for me, when I first read the script, like you're kind of reading it and you think it's like you think they're funny, but there are moments where you're like, okay, this is definitely funny, and hopefully it reads and plays out funny as well. But
Yeah.
I think there's this one moment where Veronica and she's kind of talking to Jess, and she says this, has Alice taken up any ventriloquism lessons or whatever? And everyone thought that was so funny, and everyone was kind of talking about how like when they filmed that, it wasn't supposed to read as super funny, or it wasn't supposed to come off as funny, but people thought it was like the funniest thing. So I don't know. I think it's a balance between like moments that you think, oh, these are going to be funny, but then also there's some that you're like, was not expecting that to come off as funny at all. So
100%. Yeah, absolutely. You and at the end of the day, you make the film, you wrap, and then you wait, and it really is out of your hands, right? It goes to the theaters.
exactly. I mean, when I filmed it, I was there for all of it,
Yeah.
but like I never watched any of it. Like I never actually saw really any of the footage until it was all together and I was watching the final cut, and I was like,
Yeah.
so I was like all these nerves to see how it finally came together.
It's funny because I was talking to the Popternative team before we got this interview scheduled, because you're officially a 3-time guest of the show. It's a big deal, which is really cool. But like I remember when this movie was announced. Like I remember when it was announced that you were joining like Blumhouse Imaginary, and we're all like, yeah, go take it. Like it was the best thing ever. Is it starting to kind of sink in now? Like it's so crazy how it happens. Like I remember it like yesterday when it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably filmed, right? When you announced, like you probably filmed it, then it was announced, right?
Yeah. So then, exactly. So we filmed it last year around like May and June. So for like the period from where, like, because then the strike happened, so there was this long period of time where it was like, okay, I can't really tell anyone what I've been up to, but also I have been up to something super exciting and super cool that I want to tell everyone about. But so there was this moment of like, okay, I just got to keep this to myself for several months and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was so exciting finding out that I booked it, and then actually realizing that I did book this and that I was going to be a part of this, and then actually getting on set and then doing it.
What's really cool too is, you worked on 2 projects, with Imaginary. It is really like a family, right? You have your dad, your stepmom, your sister, and then, the Mighty Ducks, you have like your hockey team, which is like the family and everything. Do you think about that at all? Like, do you think about Mighty Ducks Game Changers with the fact that like, it really showed the team very close and they were like a family? And I'm sure, like, talking to a lot of you on the junkets, like, it felt like you were like family, basically, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's like from project to project, it's like kind of developing those friendships and relationships and really kind of helping to make that authentic when it goes on a screen. So for the Mighty Ducks, I mean, we were all so close, and we had that relationship so that it transferred onto screen. And then with Imaginary, we were also close, and especially Pyper and I, and we were able to kind of, neither of us have sisters, and so for us it was kind of like this instant bond of, oh, we're so excited, and we're so excited about everything. And she's so wonderful and so talented, and so getting to work with her was super fun. And I think that we had that relationship that kind of transferred onto screen as well, and with Tom as well, and with DeWanda. I think DeWanda, we couldn't show our loving relationship that we had in real life onto screen, but it was there. It was definitely there.
Were you there for all the days of filming Imaginary?
Like, I was there on the first day and I was there on the last, and I think I worked 30 of 31 days.
There was one day you were.
I think there was one day that I didn't work.
Was it like in the middle of it? And like, was it in the middle? Was it at the end? Can you imagine if it was like day 29 or like day like?
I think it was right in the middle of it.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. So I got like a 3-day weekend or something.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Yeah.
And where was it filmed?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay. And it was, and it's crazy too, because I feel like people don't realize this too, is like the actor, like there's so many misconceptions. It really is like on to the next, right? Like you're filming Mighty Ducks Game Changers, and then you get a call from your teammate, you're going to New Orleans, right?
Yeah, it's so exciting, but it's also so like, okay, I just wrapped this. Now what's next? Like, what's going to happen next? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to play? Like, what's next is going to happen? It's exciting, but also sometimes a little like, oh no, what am I going to do next?
Yeah, there's also like a misconception that like, everything that's going on. Like there was that thing, like actors know.
I know nothing. I know nothing about what's happening next.
Like there were so many things online about like the fact that it would be cool to have like a, you know, Chauncey, Megan, like imaginary Megan
Yeah.
crossover. And
Yeah.
people think it's just they can just talk to the cast, and the cast will tell them it's gonna happen.
I'm like, guys, I know just as little as you do. I think that'd be super cool, and I would be so down to do that, and I know we all would, but I know absolutely nothing about that.
Do you like horror movies? Are you the type of like? Do you like horror movies? Are you a fan?
I love horror movies. I
Yeah.
love acting in them now that I can say that I love acting in them. But I love watching them as well. So it was super exciting.
Craziest thing, Taegen, I would
Well,
say the craziest thing is I'm a big horror movie fan, so I interview a lot of people from horror movies, and I will like talk to some people that are actors that are in like some of the scariest horror movies and like some of the scariest scenes, and the actor who's in that scene, they tell me that they can't watch horror movies. Isn't that crazy to think about?
yeah, it's such a weird thing. So, I mean, for me, when I was watching the movie, there's like a lot of scenes at the very beginning of the film that well, I'll just say it. There's a jump scare with Pyper that is so good that I had no idea what it looked like, and I wasn't there when we filmed it or when they filmed it. So like there are a couple of jump scares that I was kind of like, okay, I know it's coming. I don't know how it's gonna come
Yeah,
or
I mean,
whatever's
you read the
gonna
script,
happen.
so you know they're in there.
It's like, so I know something's coming, but I don't know when. And then there was like, but I had this one like mini jump scare, but where it's like DeWanda's kind of creeping down the stairs because she hears a noise, but then I run up the stairs right at her.
Yes.
I'm just dropping spoilers, but
I mean, spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it. It's in theaters.
yeah.
It freaked me out too when like your mother like was like came.
Oh, yeah.
That was crazy too.
Yes.
Um,
I love filming that.
Yeah, we no spoilers. We gotta like
Just watch the movie. Just go watch it, and then just go watch it.
Do you have any like favorite movies or like influence like movies that like you know you're really interested in or like? This is a question I want to ask. I'm sure there's some movies you like to watch as a fan of horror movies. Is there a genre of horror movies that you love to work in now, specifically?
Like a genre, like a subgenre?
Yeah, like
of
a
horror?
slasher film or like a supernatural or.
I would say like, I think this kind of falls into it. It's kind of like a little psychological, like that kind of genre. I love films that like when there's just twist after twist after twist, and then at the end you're like, what just happened?
I know.
And then it's kind of like those movies where it's like something happens and then you have to go back and rewatch it because you're just like, wait, what just happened? Like, what kind of twist just happened? I love movies like that, and I think we have a couple of twists in this film that I loved reading it, and then I loved getting to do them. So I think genres, like a subgenre of horror like that, is super exciting.
So we did like a top 10 list on popturnup.com, like our favorite horror movies of like 2023. And it just kind of to talk like kind of the comment of what you said about the psychological. It was so hard to pick a top 10 because there were so many of them, but so many of them are doing that now. Like there's different ways of scaring people. You don't just rely on the jump scares or anything like that. So it's cool that you mentioned that. What would you say was like your favorite thing about working on Imaginary compared to past projects, or maybe something that was different on Imaginary that wasn't on Mighty Ducks Game Changers? Anything about that specifically?
Yeah, I would say for Imaginary, I think it was kind of how emotional of a character kind of Taylor is and like all of the stuff that's going through. And also just the whole physical element of the film was like it was a lot.
There's
and
a lot
it was
of running
exciting.
up and down. That's not a spoiler. There's a lot of running up and down.
The staircase? Oh my gosh.
That's something I noticed when I got home too. I'm like, that staircase is in the movie a lot, like in the house. Like they're going up and down the stairs.
So much. It was like, and it looks like a lot on screen, but then imagine doing like 15 takes of each. So by the end, it's like you have to run down the stairs, then you have to run back up the stairs. So like, oh my gosh, by the end, I would just be like, wow, this is a lot of running.
Oh, absolutely.
But I enjoyed it.
100%. And so Imaginary is in theaters, so they can check it out and go see it, which is awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for coming back on the show. So great chatting with you again.
Yes, it was so much fun. I could just talk forever.
I know, it's so crazy. Yeah, so Imagineers in theaters right now. Your Instagram is just your name if people want to keep up to date with everything, right?
Yes. Taegen.Burns.
Awesome. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popturn for previous episodes. You can, of course, catch Taegen Burns in Imaginary, which is now in theaters. Till next time, it's Taegen and p.g.a signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.